Right, good evening everybody. Nice to see you this evening. Tonight's topic is an alternative to using Adobe's 20 gigabyte of storage in the cloud. And I am going to take everything that's been out on YouTube and blogs and so on with a pinch of salt. If you contribute to Adobe stock, Adobe will pay you a license, a small license, as a part of their terms and conditions to train their Firefly, which is their retail product, and what's it called? Sensei is their trade product. So you can subscribe. Organizations can subscribe to Sensei and have developers do some coding and so on. That's the database, the source Sensei. What we would use as a part of our Creative Cloud license, or an end user would use, is called Firefly. And what Adobe are saying is, if you put an image in Adobe stock, we will pay you a small royalty, and I think they're on the second payment wave. I had an email yesterday, I think it was. Your second payment is due to you shortly. And what it is, it's looking at your description, it's looking at your keywords, and it's looking at the image, and it's learning from you. And they've been open and transparent about that. Now, shall we just say naysayers have said, well, if they're doing that, are they doing that and not telling me in the images that I sync from my mobile phone or I upload into the cloud via Lightroom, whether it's the desktop client, whether it's an iPad or whatever? And there's been a lot of, I won't say accusations, but questions and comments. Well, you didn't tell us about this. You weren't fully transparent. That's how we feel. So we wouldn't put it past you to do this. And I have no inside information. I have no opinion. You know, it's just I'm trying to give a balanced point of view from everybody. I use the Adobe Cloud. And I will take Adobe at face value of what they say is, when I put something in the cloud on my 1 terabyte storage, they do not scan it to learn for Sensei. And that is the underlying bit. They will scan the image because in Lightroom, when you type in green tree or red truck or waterfall, it will scan the image and will come back with that content. But what they're saying is that content is only, or that service, if you want to say, like keywording, is only for the end user. They are not using that information commercially to train their artificial intelligence. So that is my understanding what they're saying. So that then throws out another question is, do we need to use the Adobe Cloud? I want to put some images into a cloud service to share with somebody. I want to back up my images. So there's a very simple way with Dropbox, which most people will know, and with OneDrive. I'm going to show you Dropbox tonight. It's exactly the same, or the principles are exactly the same with OneDrive, and there are other services out there. For example, I'm a Backblaze B2B customer, and what I have in my Finder on my Mac, which is the same on a PC and Explorer, I've got drives down the left hand side, but they're not drives that are sitting in a network here, or they're not just drives sitting on my desk here. they're actually drives in the cloud. And literally I click on the Finder or open a new window in the Finder and it opens up that drive. So I'm using my internet connection to look at that drive wherever it is. And that's Dropbox, that's OneDrive, that's my server, that's my Backblaze account, that's my Amazon storage account. I can just use it just like going to an attached device or a network device locally, and I can see and I can drag the image and it uploads it to that cloud. So I started thinking, how can we use Dropbox within Classic without using published services, because there has been legacy published service apps, plugins for Classic that you can use Dropbox. But how can we do it so it's just like a drive on your computer? And I've worked out a way to do it. It's relatively simple and straightforward, but I just wanted to share that with people so it provokes you to think about, oh, I don't need to do this, I could do it this way. This is more convenient. I've got a Dropbox account, I've got 5 terabytes of storage in there, and that's what I'm paying for, $200 a year for subscription. I could put up backup, or I could take pictures with my phone or with my camera and upload them to Dropbox, and it would sync with Classic. So the philosophy is it doesn't go anywhere near Adobe's cloud to scan. You're not giving them the opportunity. If you don't give somebody the opportunity to do something, they can't do it. That's the philosophy. So I thought I'd show you. So let's just share screen. Should we do share screen? No, what we'll do is we'll take a photograph first. So let's go to here. So I'm going to use my phone and I'm just going to take a picture and then I'm going to share the screen. So I'm just going to take a picture of a couple of zines that have come in. There we go. So I've taken that picture and now I'm going to share my screen. Come on, phone. There we go. Okay. So this is my Dropbox account, and this is some folders in there. I don't use Dropbox a lot, but we can see in camera uploads there's 3 files just there. And what you have to do, there's the picture I've just taken, is if you go to your account and you can do upload from your camera roll. So I'm on my iPhone, I'm uploading from my camera roll. I could import pictures from a mirrorless or a DSLR onto my phone. They would go into my camera roll, and I've turned on, so at the moment it says turn off camera uploads. Well, that's, if I hit it, it would turn it off, so it's turned on at the moment. So it's going to, anything in my camera roll is going to automatically upload to Dropbox. Okay, so that's straightforward for everybody? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's literally, I take a picture, I'm just going to take that one. So I've taken that picture, I go back to Dropbox, I go to my camera uploads, you can see it says on, camera uploads on, and it's going to go to my camera roll. So, and there we go, 13 seconds ago is the one I took before I screen shared. And now, let's come out of here, stop sharing. So now they're going to go up to my Dropbox account. Okay, so we leave those a few seconds to do that. I can do it via cellular or I can do it via Wi-Fi. So now, if I share my screen, and if I go into Classic, Okay, so I now need to show Classic where they're coming into in Dropbox. So if I go import, now at the moment I haven't got them set up at all. But if I go import and go to the Dropbox file called camera uploads, there's the pictures that I took with my phone. And I'm just going to add them. And the reason why you add them is that when you import, they stay in the location in Dropbox. So if I delete this here in Classic, it will delete it in Dropbox. If I move it, so I want to drag it to a folder, it will move it out of Dropbox. So I'm managing my Dropbox folder within Classic. Now let's say I had some pictures that on my phone or my tablet or a laptop that weren't taken with the camera, the device camera. So we're going to import. I've got a folder already I've set up and it's called LRC Dropbox Images. And this is just a screenshot. This is in my OneDrive already. So I'm just going to add that. So there we go. There it is there. So I've now got this Dropbox folder with my files in there. Now if I wanted to, let's just go and find a couple. These two images here. If I want, oh, actually let's go and find something else. These two images here, that's a virtual copy. I think, no it's not. These two images here. If I wanted to, I could drag this folder and drop it into that Dropbox folder. We'll let it sync and I'll show you what's happening in a second there with it. But this is how I can get my images via my Dropbox to Classic. Now there's a way to automate this. If I go up to File and come down to Auto Import and the settings, Classic will look in a particular folder, will constantly keep looking and will automatically add those images to Classic. So we got a thing called a watch folder. So I'm going to set my watch folder for my Dropbox camera uploads. Okay. Oops. It's not doing that. Oh, it's already doing that already. Okay. Auto import is empty. Right. Okay. So it can't be empty first. It's got to be empty first time. So this watch folder's got to be empty first time. So what we can do is I'm going to delete those images. I'm going to delete them from the disk. And I go into auto import. Now let's try again. There we go, camera uploads. This is in my Dropbox camera uploads. Choose, there we go. So Classic is going to look in this folder. And then the destination, do I want to move it? I don't have to move it. So I could leave them where they are. Do I want to add them to a collection? So I could say, yes, I'm going to add them to a collection. So let's add them to this auto import collection. Do I want to rename them? Just like importing them as normal. Do I want to add my develop settings? Do I want to add my presets to my IPTC presets? Do I want to add keywords? So we're going to go OK. So now I'm going to go back to my camera, my phone, and I'll just do this off, leave the screen going. I've just taken a picture of my phone and then I'm just going to go to Dropbox. There we go. That should now start syncing. And in a second, this should drop in, the file should drop in here automatically. So I just saw from the icon it was syncing, so it should just appear. Okay, so we'll wait for that to sync, and there we go. I am now managing my images from my phone or from my camera using an iPad. syncing it via Dropbox, auto importing into Classic. So they're not going anywhere near Adobe's cloud. Now, once you've got them in Classic, you could share that folder with somebody that you want to share those images with them. Okay, so let's say you went to a party or you wanted to share the holiday, and you'd be sharing the files with them. So they don't get a web page as such, they would get a folder on their computer. Yeah? So there we go. That's how we can add our images to Classic via Dropbox, all automatically. Okay.
So you'd be sharing them through Lightroom Classic, not Dropbox.
You would have to give the permissions to the folder, because you could set up multiple folders. Okay, in this location. In this location here, you could have multiple folders. Okay, this folder is in Dropbox now. Okay, this is the image I just took, is in Dropbox. You would go to Dropbox, I'll go right click and show in Finder, and there's the folder. Then go right click and you go share, and you would then share this. I'm now sharing this through Dropbox.
But you'd only be sharing the original files. You wouldn't be say like you've done any work or anything on them. I can't see the point of it somehow.
Well, the point is you're not putting the point is that you're sharing the file with them, the client, rather than emailing it to them. But Dropbox doesn't scan your documents for AI. Whatever you believe, if you believe Adobe or don't believe Adobe, and I have no opinion on the matter, I'm not giving them the opportunity to scan my images to learn artificial intelligence. Okay, so there's been this big discussion for the last 6-8 weeks. Adobe scanning my images and I'm not getting paid for it. They're earning money and I'm not getting paid. They're putting me out of a job. Their Firefly technology, I can type in a picture of a grey-haired gentleman with a beard in his 50s sitting at a laptop computer, draw me a cartoon, boom, and there it is. They're putting that person out of a job. But where have they got the information from to create that image? And the naysayers are saying, well, you've been scanning my images for years and you've been learning, but you haven't been financially rewarding me for my knowledge. So that's if you're putting it in the cloud. Some people believe that. But if you don't put it in Adobe's cloud, they can't scan your images. Yeah? So what?
I can understand that, but I can't see the point of sharing images. Say you wanted to share them with a client or something like that, files that you haven't done your work on. You know, you haven't adjusted them or whatever. You would just be sharing that original JPEG.
No, you'd put it into a folder that was your finished work for approval. So at the moment, you do a document that you're working on, etc., and you either send them a link or you send them an email with an attachment on it and so on. And that's where I am at the moment with your work. How do you think this is? You might not send the original piece that you start. I wouldn't send the raw file. I'd send them another folder with a JPEG in there. And the JPEG...
I'm probably getting confused then. That Dropbox folder that you've got with those images, they're not exported images, are they? They're just the raw. They are the raw file, aren't they?
At this particular moment, yes. They are at this particular moment, yes. But I could create a JPEG and I could share that folder with somebody. So I could create the finished product and share that with them, yes.
So you'd have another step then, really?
Yeah, you'd have more. You could have more than one folder. You'd keep
put them in another folder.
Yeah.
And share the folder.
Yes, yeah. You could have. This is why I've got this LR darkroom image, Dropbox images, and I've got multiple. I could have multiple folders in there with multiple formats and videos and so on. But I'm managing it within Classic. And Dropbox is doing the sharing bit. Callum, yeah.
It seems to me that Helen's comments apply to the current way, going through the cloud into Classic. If you want to share it, you still have to then move it to a different folder. So what you need to do to your images is independent of whether they came through Dropbox or through the Adobe Cloud.
Yep. Yeah. So this is a way of managing backing up, keeping the originals in the cloud, and then if you wanted to share them with somebody, you'd create another folder and put your exported images in there. So there's lots of... Sorry?
Add means the picture is still in Dropbox.
Correct.
And just pointing to it. But then when you move it to a different folder, how do you get it so that it's actually on your hard drive, on your computer with Classic?
Just literally drag it. So this is in Dropbox. Okay. Right. These two images here, and if I want to take it out of Dropbox, I just drag it out of that folder, and you see it's moving. It's now moved, and it's now there. So this is one of my drives locally. So now it's been taken out of Dropbox and moved there. So in this case, I've used Dropbox as a backup service and a file transfer service. I've moved the files from one place to the other.
And then you have to rename that folder, right?
Well, it was a subfolder. This was the date it was taken. So this is my parent folder. It has a file in it. Okay, but perhaps I wanted to. So perhaps I wanted to back up images and put them into my Dropbox. I could back it up and do it that way. Now these are in the Dropbox folder, backed up in the cloud. So if this drive here failed, I've got all my original files in the cloud. But if I wanted to edit this image here, if I wanted to edit this, I could edit this and it would edit it in the cloud.
Right.
Okay, so I'm now editing it in the cloud, which is exactly what we do with Lightroom. But I'm managing it and editing it in Classic.
If you put it in a collection and don't make a virtual copy, editing it in the collection will also edit it in the cloud.
Correct. Because a collection is only a link to where it is in the folder structure.
A pointer. So you should make a virtual copy if you don't want to change what's in.
Yeah, and the virtual copy will be in your Dropbox folder.
Right, I get it.
It's at Callum, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Masquerading as the Easter Bay camera.
Yeah, that's all right.
I was really excited that the latest update to the Sony's allows the camera to export through Wi-Fi directly to the Sony Creators Cloud.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, Sony have finally got it. But then, unbelievably, they don't have an add-in for Windows or Mac, which lets you see the cloud as a drive folder in the same way you've shown us. So they've just completely fallen at the last hurdle, because there's no way that you can then do what you've shown us unless there's a way of putting a virtual drive that references the creator's cloud. So really disappointing that Sony have missed out there.
Okay, so this is a work in progress. It's like, this problem has come along because somebody's asked questions 6-8 weeks ago, and it's like, well, I don't want to spend any more money. I spend enough money on software and cloud storage as it is. Is there something I could do with the facilities I've got? And as we talk on a Monday night, I say, I'm not scared of saying, that's a better idea. I didn't think of doing it like that, and changing my workflow. So I'm interrogating myself in this. Could I save $90 a year and cancel my 1 terabyte storage with Adobe and just go to the 100 gigabyte, which is because I've got the Creative Cloud? Go to that, save myself with the storage I've already got, the services I've already got, and giving me the same functionality.
Clearly, Dropbox have done an excellent job of providing that virtual drive to the Mac, so that, as far as Lightroom is concerned, it is just another hard drive. It doesn't know it's talking to the cloud.
Yeah, that's right. But also, I get my Nikon Z6 III tomorrow, and Nikon have done this Nikon Cloud, it's called. And just like Sony, the camera, via some form of internet connection, could be your phone, could be a Wi-Fi hotspot, it will take the file on your computer, on your camera, and take it to the service that you want. So it could be Dropbox, could be Adobe, could be your own server, and so on. So the questions and the solutions are evolving. We're learning with AI. There was something in the news the other day that the NHS in the UK have got this AI app that they tested 10,000 people, and the AI algorithm predicted 1,264, it was something like that, potential diseases that they could get, and this was before symptoms. And once they took the AI answers and did the testing, it was something, and I can't remember the right number, I will stand corrected, it was something like 96% were correct, that this AI was predicting these people would get, let's just say cancer, let's say MS, whatever, and so on. And they did the in-depth analysis and testing of the individual people. And yes, they were at high risk. So AI is something that I think we need to embrace, but embrace it intelligently. Embrace it where, James Dyson once said, why pay somebody £75,000 a year to screw nuts and bolts to make his hoovers and air dryers and all the rest of it and so on? Well, we can get a robot to do it, and the person that we're paying £75,000 does a meaningful, more productive, intelligent role within the organisations. And that's where I hope AI will finally get us, long after I'm dead and buried, or burnt or whatever, cremated or whatever, is that the meaningless tasks are automated, allowing us as a society to become more productive and more meaningful for our communities and our space and our world. But at the moment we're in this commercialization. How can I make money out of it? Hopefully
Nikon have a good agent to link to their cloud from your Macintosh. They've made, they address what Sony have completely missed out on with no integration.
Yeah, well, I've set up the account. I'm waiting for the camera, and I'll report back in this space. But I've been able to do it with the D3 through to the D6 and the Z9 and the Z8. You can FTP. From the actual device, you can type in the server and you log in and your password, and you go through the thumbnails on the back of the camera and you put a little tick on it, and it uploads it to your server. But it's very technically. You got to be a real techno to work this out. It's not user friendly.
No, I tried that with the Sony, and despite having a career in IT, I got bogged down in installing an FTP server on Windows 11. I thought, no, can't be bothered.
Yeah, well, with the Nikon Cloud, I think it's very user friendly. You just log into your Dropbox, and it allows the app to connect to Dropbox. So you then literally from your camera to via your internet connection. So that could be a Wi-Fi hotspot, it could be home internet. It will then go to your Dropbox, will go to your Adobe Cloud, and then just sync down or whatever it is, or OneDrive or whatever it is that you're linking to. You just literally log in.
Could mean you never run out of space in your card, because it will just stream every picture up to the cloud, and once you're at 90% capacity, it starts deleting them off your card or something like that.
For me, that's a very valid point, because the thing that is the stumbling block is the connectivity of cameras. We're so used to taking the phone now and sharing it, Facebook and all the rest of it and so on. Our memory cards are getting hot, which are now overheating our camera.
Photographers.
Yeah, sorry, Jay?
It's just, to me, very sad that the camera manufacturers don't really understand our workflow, and they're not really doing the software to help us in our workflow. I mean, all they're focused on is larger images, larger megapixels, more automation of the mechanics of the camera, and not our workflow. And that the barrier is the workflow, not the quality of the camera. All cameras now are fine, but they don't recognize that. It's stunning. Tom Hogan has been talking to them for 15 years about the workflow, and he's got a very close relationship with Nikon, and they're beginning to respond, but they're way behind. It's very sad.
I think they're all well behind in their workflow, and that's where I put that FN2 1 star. I've created the workflow. What can I put on the attributes in camera? To make my life easier sitting in front of this BenQ monitor. So it's there's lots of things we're getting to the point of accreditation of the image. Was it an image? Has it been altered in any way? And then now there's this alliance between Adobe and lots of other manufacturers and news organisations and so on, and they're working out a strategy that when you press your shutter button, they know at every point what's been done to the image. So it's been verified that it hasn't had a sky replacement, it hasn't, or if it has, this is all written into the file and it can't be manipulated. So that's a conversation, and I think one of the Leicas have got it already in the camera, and it's being trialled. You can go and buy it today, and it works and so on, but it hasn't gone out to the rest of the marketplace. But we should have image security. We should have some way of locking down. If our camera gets stolen, some way of locking it down that it no longer works, like you do with a mobile phone these days.
I see Sony have come out with it's really a glorified mobile phone which plugs into their cameras and transmits the images back to the the sports editor in near real time. But outrageously, they want £1,000 for it. And it can't be any more complex than an Android phone with a bit of custom software. So
I believe Nikon do that already. There is a piece of software that you can buy. It's done by Nikon France, I think it is, where you run it on your mobile phone. I think it's called NX Mobile. I think it's called. I'll stand corrected. And you literally just plug your phone into USB-C in as a cable, and that's it. It transmits it to wherever you want it to transmit to. But you got to remember, these companies, they're vehicles to make money. Can we make money out of that? No, we can't, so we're not going to do it. So it's one of those things. But yeah, anyway, going back to the topic for tonight, you can use Dropbox, and it works exactly the same principle. Adding the folder, turning on auto upload in the OneDrive app on your device. So that's Microsoft OneDrive. So if you've got a OneDrive, a Microsoft account with Word and so on, etc., you've got 1 terabyte of storage. So you can take your photographs, allow it auto sync, and they'll just drop in to Classic for you. And they're not going anywhere near the Adobe Cloud. And they are the files that you take. And then you can move them, manage them, edit them, put them back into another folder in your cloud service, share that folder with somebody if you wish, and it will be on their computer as a folder, and they can have the images. Okay? Everyone's gone quiet.
I noticed in one of the settings on the phone, it said, or copy or whatever your file type, it was HEIC, and then the other thing said as.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've run into is PNG. If you do a screenshot on your phone, it's a PNG, and some software can't handle a PNG, so it needs to be transferred to a JPEG. In that setting, can I say upload a PNG as a JPEG?
You can change all of that in. So the screenshot will be done as a PNG, but in the Dropbox app, it will take any picture format. It'll also take any video format.
So I know, but for instance, like I'm a bicycler, and there's a social app called Strava.
Yeah.
And it records your bicycling route, and you can add a picture. It can't take a PNG.
Okay.
So I have to go in. I have to translate a PNG to a JPEG.
Yeah, it'll do JPEGs.
Within Classic, can you transform a PNG to a JPEG?
Not in Classic, you can't. You'd have to take that from Classic to Photoshop and then export it.
Right. What I do is on my phone, I take it into the Lightroom mobile on the phone and then save it as a JPEG.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
Just that's a dumb step to do. It would be nice to automate it or have somebody else, do it on the flow. Yeah.
So what you could do in Classic, you could export them as JPEGs, and in the export module there is re-import or add to catalog those JPEGs. Okay, so what you would do?
Oh, that's cute.
Let's say I'm going to export this. You go File, Export, and then you would export as a JPEG, and then add to catalog here. So it exports it, and then it adds it back into the catalog. So you choose the destination that you want to go.
Oh, cute.
So there's all your formats that you can export. So all your images that have come in as PNGs, you just Command A, select all, or select the ones you want, export them as original, so 100%, whatever your color space and so on. Don't resize them, and then put them in a folder, and and then tick this box here, add to catalog, and then it will come back into wherever you've added them.
Okay, that's good.
So that's
another way.
Yeah. Oh, there's millions of ways to do things. It's what suits your workflow.
Right.
Yeah. I've been looking at this, and there's I could do this. I could do that. How does that benefit me to do my job quicker? Yeah. And all I'm trying to do is provoke you to think about, actually, we don't need to use the Adobe Cloud. If we don't want to believe them, if we don't want to trust them, and that's a decision for you, it's not even a question, there is some options out there. Oh, right, well, we could do this. I'm quietly confident they are not scanning my images to learn by Sensei. But there will be naysayers that say they are. But I'm now saying, well, if you don't put them in the Adobe Cloud, they can't scan them. So what can I do? Well, you can use Dropbox, you can use OneDrive. We're probably already paying for those services. Yes, Carl.
Right, and I'll be upgrading from the photography plan to the full thing, but then my Adobe storage drops from 1 terabyte to 200 gigabytes.
That's correct. But you can pay additional. So Amazon Prime Day is, I think it's the 6th to the 8th of October. So you'll be able to get some deals on Adobe subscription, about $75, $80 for a year for the photography plan, about $300 a year for the whole. I'm aware of your situation with your daughter.
Right.
But you can buy 1 year's 1 terabyte of storage. It's about $80.
Right. It turns out in the US, last Prime Days, they wouldn't do it.
Right. Okay.
It's like that doesn't work in the US. It works in the UK, but not the US.
Well, change the shop in the Amazon Amazon app.
Try buying it in UK.
Try and buy, yeah. So when you will have in your account settings, buy from Amazon.com. Change it to Amazon.co.uk, and then it says charge me in dollars.
Okay.
So you can choose your location, and you can choose your currency.
Okay.
So, and the reason why I know about that is I travel quite a bit around Europe and so on, and I want to buy the device with the European plug on it. If I buy an Anchor product in the UK, it comes with a UK product. No, I want it with a European 2-pin product. So I change it to Germany or whatever and so on, charge me in pounds sterling, and it gets delivered to me.
Okay.
So try that. It might work, it might not.
Yeah. Right.
Callum.
Right.
You briefly mentioned OneDrive there. Have you done any comparison between Dropbox and OneDrive for this? I only ask because I've got some small business subscription to OneDrive, so it gives me multiple terabytes.
I have a small business Adobe account. Microsoft account. So yes, I've done exactly the same.
Cool.
I've put the app on, and I literally just add the folder it goes into. I take the picture in the app or the OneDrive app. You say automatically upload your photos. It goes into the photos and it will put it into a year and a month folder. So it'll put the year and then it'll make another folder and put 09, and they'll all go in there 09. Then we get to 10, October. It'll put 10, and it'll all put them in there, and then it just uploads them and puts them into. So that might be a better product for you.
Certainly avoids me paying twice, which is kind of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I'll experiment some more.
Yeah. So
how do you link OneDrive to a Mac?
If you go into the App Store, there is the app
for OneDrive.
OneDrive. You type in OneDrive into the app, you'll download it, you log in with your credentials, you set the location where you want them to put them all in, and then you add that picture location that's in your OneDrive by hitting plus in Classic. Go and find the location, and then it'll appear in Classic, and anything that goes in that folder will appear. Okay. Anyone else any questions about that? Go on in, Jay.
I have a question. I'm moving from Windows to Mac,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to move my the catalog I know how to move over.
Mm-hmm.
My actual files, folders that are on my Windows machine.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at them, I don't see any sidecar files.
Mm-hmm.
Are the sidecar files in the catalog or they're in the folder?
So
And do I have
when you
do I have to
import,
worry about
so
the
all your
sidecar
adjustments
files?
will be in the catalog unless you've selected on import. It's got a little drop down that says sidecar file.
I don't think I have. I
Okay.
think I use the default.
Okay.
So there are no sidecar files then.
The only thing, well, there could be. I need to look at your drive. The only problem that you're going to have is the format of your drive. Okay,
Right.
because Windows drives
Yeah.
don't necessarily work on a Mac.
Yes, no, that I'm aware of because I also have a NAS,
Yeah.
which I formatted just for Windows before I got in, and the Mac can't sync with it. It doesn't. The sync doesn't work. It
Okay.
can read it. It
Yeah.
can read it, but it can't. I can't use it for backup.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can't
Okay.
write to it. So, but I can read it. So I'm probably going to read it from the NAS into the Mac's storage because I'm going to put this in the storage.
Okay.
So
So if you've got 1 terabyte storage, I'm not asking you. I'm just making you aware. If you haven't got 1 terabyte of images, stick them all in your Adobe Cloud drive or some form of other storage, and then reformat the drive. And you can reformat it for dual operating
read
system.
and write.
Dual
Right.
read. Well, it'll work on a Mac and it'll work on a PC.
right, right. Or just to make this transfer to the Mac, I can also put those folders into Dropbox or OneDrive
Yeah.
and then read it in
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, and then reformat your drive, making sure that going to the folder and right-clicking how much storage, and you say, "Oh, I've got 6 gigabytes. That one's got 6 gigabytes." Belt and braces. You don't want to
Right,
lose anything.
right.
Just make sure the
Right.
storage, the amounts are the same, and that means,
Well,
right, I've copied everything.
If I have a little disk drive here,
Mm-hmm.
what should I format it to be read and write back?
I can't remember what it's called.
I'll do a Google search.
Yeah,
to
if you go
find it.
to applications, and it's under, where is it?
Oh, I should format on the Mac.
Under
That's right.
under utilities,
Right.
disk utility, I think it's called,
Yeah.
and then you've got, let's go to a drive, that drive there, and where's it?
Possibly exFAT.
I think that's right.
It's Mac OS extended, journaled, I believe. Okay, I believe, but it may be exFAT, so it might be a search engine question.
Okay, I can do that.
But yeah. But there is that dual format that will work on a PC and a Mac, but it may be exFAT.
Right.
I'll stand corrected. I would go off and ask several different sites, companies,
Right.
and so on. Then you don't have that problem in the future. But your Lightroom catalog file, as it stands, will work PC or Mac. Okay.
Right.
So all you got to do is drag it, put it in the cloud, then bring it down to your Mac, and that's it. And away you go.
Right. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, well, we've gone off topic a little bit, but I hope that it's provoked you to think about. You don't need to use Adobe Storage. You could use Dropbox. You could use OneDrive. It's quite simple. Once you've looked at a workflow, you're just adding in the folder that the images are going into your folder structure, and then turning on the auto import. So as they go up and come down, Classic is looking in that location where they're going to go and sync from the cloud from, and automatically bring them into Classic for you. So you ain't got to worry about that either. Yeah.
Very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's great to have that choice.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're paying for those cloud storage services. And what I love about the Amazon, I don't use Amazon that much these days. I more use Backblaze because they're cheaper. Is that there's no limit to the storage. Where at the moment I've got a 96 terabyte drive and I need to delete images. Firstly, if the drive goes down, I'm stuffed. I'm not really, but I'm stuffed. And I'm limited to 96 I've still got 10 years worth of negatives to scan and put on there, but I've got no more disk space, and I've got to go and shell out for more disks and more this. Well, I only pay for the access to my storage. So it's not just 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 5 terabytes like Dropbox. If I wanted, what's above a terabyte? I don't know. Pepperbyte or Hippo or whatever it is. Anyway, I could go to 200 terabytes, 400 terabytes. It's somebody else's problem, and I just pay a small fee. I think it's fraction of a cent per gigabyte, and it's just sitting there, and I can access it from anywhere. So all my InDesign projects now, I've put in that cloud.
And you make a mistake, the backup has the mistake.
Yeah.
So, you have to be careful. You really have to have a good backup.
Yeah.
It's delayed a while.
Yeah.
Because I almost really ruined a very important folder because I made a mistake and it was no longer readable. And I went to my NAS, but my NAS had already changed half the files, backed up half the files. And luckily, before my move, I had backed up to a hard dump drive separately. So the backing up is a complicated thing.
Yeah.
It's
and in the software that I use to synchronize all this stuff, there's a 1 hour delay on it.
That's smart. That's actually very smart.
That's Backblaze.
I use Good Sync and I use Mounting Duck. So Mounting
which
Duck,
has the 1 hour delay.
Good Sync.
Good Sync.
Good Sync. I've got it. It's automatically, and it's incremental backup, and you can go to any location. So it could be direct and network. It can be network and web. It could be direct and web. Oh yeah, you can run multiple jobs. The only negative is they do a server version. It's expensive. I pay less than $50 a year for my software, and it runs when the machine's on because it's just this machine.
Right.
But what is the service? I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is the service you subscribe to from Backblaze? Because they have a few different options.
So there's a personal plan, which I pay. I've got the Forever Personal Plan, and that just backs up everything that's direct storage. And then I use the B2B service, but the B2B is my best of my best of my best of my best images, and my InDesign projects. So what Jay was saying, something about backing up, if I'm using this history in the InDesign, this history, so if I make a mistake and it's in the file, I just go back one step, just like in Classic, and go back one step in the develop module, and I can undo that history, I can change it and so on. So there's no right answer. I keep saying this on a Monday. There's no right answer. It's what works for you, what you think, what you understand, what you want to do. And it's about learning the tools, whether it's technology, cameras, thinking, whatever it is, that gives you the solution that you want.
I believe OneDrive for Business will actually version JPEG files.
I think you're correct.
If you do have that moment, you can roll back to previous versions. But I suspect it will do that by taking a complete copy, So it's probably quite greedy on space,
Yeah.
whereas for its own Word files, it will just do a delta.
Yeah, you're totally right. Thank you for that. And Dropbox does history. So you can roll back history up to 30 days on Dropbox. So there are solutions there. It's what works for you. And that's what tonight, my goal was for tonight, my learning objective was to get you to think about, well, actually, if I don't want to trust Adobe, what are my options? I trust Adobe. Actually, I want Adobe to learn. I want them to make it easier for me to do my editing because I want to go back to photography. But inform me as a customer that that's what you want to do, and I'm happy with that. But what if you don't want to do that? What other solutions are out there? Well, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that. You can use those additional services. Anyway, thank you for your time. It's been an hour tonight, not 30 minutes.
Thank you very much.
And Monday, I'll see you on Monday. Take care. Stay safe. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.